right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back at it again. Another week. You know what that means? Another 3 by 3 BTG podcast with Soul Brav and the Love Man IORR03. And this week, you asked for it. I know you did because I saw your comments. You asked for the 90s. We're going to be dealing with the soul of the 90s, and I am so excited, like I am every week, to do this. This is a lot of fun. And this week, more views. We got a couple of subscribers, so I'm excited about that. Remember to rate and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you just see a clip of this, we are on YouTube under Grown Folks Music 1. That's the channel, and go there and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll get the notification of when a new episode comes up, which is usually I shoot for Wednesday, hump day. Usually new episodes come out every Wednesday. Somebody else, some other guy that does podcasts and has a bigger platform and plays the drums, I think his thing comes out on Wednesdays, but whatever. Right. Join the new movement.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever, man. So we're going to be talking about the 90s, and before we get right into that, we tape these first day of the week, not the first day of the business week, but the first day of the week, and a lot has changed since we taped last week. And a lot has changed in the sense of, as we did our show on the 70s, and we talked about Marvin Gaye and what's going on, it's we haven't resolved those problems. So we are in, it's 71 or 2020. Yeah. So music plays a vital part, especially of us as a people. Black music is protest music. Just out of the sense of just our presence here is a testimony. It can be considered as a radical testimony. So we're going to deal with this soul music of the 90s. I don't know. I don't know what Soul Brav has picked, so I don't know if anything that he has picked moves into the protest realm. The 90s was an interesting time. Now, it was clearly heavily protest music in hip hop. We're talking about the high line of PE and some of the other groups that were very politically, socially conscious. Then, of course, that started to wane around 1992 or 3. But anyway. But then it comes back. Yeah, cats like Most Def and other cats at the end, and But anyway, I digress. So 3 by 3, BTG, the soul of the 1990s. I was old. Soul Brav
was alive.
Yeah, exactly. Soul Brav was crossing them up at the downtown wreck.
Yeah. Some of the best memories I have are just some of these songs and moments that during the 90s that I got to witness and kind of actually be aware of. You can be around things, but there's a certain point in your life where you start to absorb and pay attention and remember the things that are going on. And that era was the 90s to me. So I'm happy.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, as we tend to do on this deal, we play a little bit of the goodness. We don't know which songs we've picked, which is a lot of the fun. I have no idea. I don't know if there's going to be an appearance. You all know from listening to the previous episodes, if you have, that there's a lot of crossover. So we're both big Stevie fans. I don't know if a Stevie was going to appear this week. Maybe there'll be a surprise. I'm thinking about 90s Stevie, and I'm like, Jungle Fever soundtrack. Maybe something's going to come off of that. I don't know. But without any further ado, I always like to pass it to nephew to get us started. So, what is your first pick?
This song is from Mint Condition.
Ooh.
It's You Send Me Swinging. No. So, Pretty Brown Eyes is, of course, their big, huge song that everyone knows and loves. And I love that song. I wanted to pick that. But with this one, I love it because it has the soul in it. It has different tones and different voices. You can tell everything was put together, collectively by a group versus an individual engineer kind of just doing everything. So that was my pick. My first pick is You Send Me Swinging by Mint Condition.
You know what? Let me just hit play because really.
You send me swinging, oh, you send me swinging. I wait for the day, oh, sweet gentle swing. Run to the right way. Oh, you send me swinging. You send me swinging. Oh, you send me swinging.
I'll give you the hard one.
I never thought I'd really find someone so beautiful and kind. Oh, what you've done to me with just the little things you do. You got me crazy over you, and it's getting stronger. When I'm with you, I fall deeper in love. This feeling is the one thing my heart is sure of. So
Here we go.
wait for the day, sweet gentle sway, sweet gentle sway, rocks away, run to the right way. Oh, you send me swinging, you send me swinging. Oh, you send me swinging.
Oh boy. Oh man, I could go all day on that.
Yeah, that one's the hits, man. You can feel every note, every turn. 1993, right at the cusp of the music,
Yeah, that that group means so much to me. I mean, just they mean so much. I mean, having been in a band and was in a band in the late '80s and the '90s, being in a band with black people, they meant so much because it won't, I mean, we were doing the go-go thing, so those are black bands, but just to see a band on a national stage in that era, and for the music to be so darn good. I mean, them dudes, those dudes are ridiculous. Like, seriously, like, and that's one of my favorite songs of theirs. That whole album from the Mint Factory is like one of my favorite albums, and then that song. I mean, that song just came out of. I think it might have been. You Send Me Swinging might have been. I don't know. No, I had to research it. I don't want to say wrong because nobody does it better. That might have been the lead single, but You Send Me Swinging was up there. It might have been, I don't know, somewhere first or second. And then you've got on that album, you got So Fine. Lord have mercy. Someone to Love. Oh man, it just yeah. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
That's a
I
great
tried
soulful
to,
pick.
Start off strong.
Yeah, that's like leading with the big joker. Yeah, that's starting pretty strong. And Stokely. I mean, what can you say about that vocal, that lead vocal, and he was the drummer, and probably the greatest. Yeah, probably the greatest singing drummer. I mean, there are other great
Yeah,
singing drummers, but to sing
yeah,
like
man.
that
I
is
tried.
ridiculous.
It was really important to me to get a band in there. My other picks are, the beats are computer made or even maybe samples, So it was
Sure.
important for me to kind of bring that soul into the '90s and to kind of dissipate uh, after this decade
Huh.
with
Well,
soul anyway.
yeah, and what's cool is the my pick. It's not a band, but it's in a very similar vein because, and I'm talking all this trash, and I'm hoping it's here. But it's in a very similar vein because, and I'll play it, and we'll talk about the similarities after I play it. But it really lines up with why you chose who you chose, and because of what they represent. So let's see. Let me hit play. Hopefully, we won't have any problems here, and talk about it after this. Here's my first pick.
I've always told you I give anything. My baby, you've been my best, my only friend. There's nothing like the joy you bring. I wonder what would happen if you would trust in me. I'd make you believe, I'd make you see. No need to run from me. I'll make you feel like never before.
Trying to get to the chorus.
Yeah, stand hand in hand, help me find the door. Anybody can see, baby, you've been hurt before. Let me heal your pain. Won't ever hurt no more. Whatever it takes to make you
Oh, it took us to 2 minutes.
whatever it takes to make you smile. Whatever it takes to make you feel good, baby. I'll be around.
All right. So, yes. Of course, we weren't going to escape the 90s without Anita Baker. Come on. It's me.
Yeah.
Oh, and the reason that lines up so well with You Send Me Swinging is because of what Soul Brav alluded to, which was, this was the 90s, so a lot of music was lockstep, and that's not a criticism. It was a production, it's a production. That's the way people were making records. So you had an MPC, or you had, a lot of hip hop cats obviously used SP1200, or whatever you use to lock in a sequence. So those are drum machines, sampling drum machines with sequencers, and so you lock it up and you make the track, and that's what it is. But these two records were made by musicians sitting down together playing. Um, I don't know if Mint tracked everything live. They may have done, where you do what's called a scratch vocal. So, the vocalist sings along with everybody just to make sure the arrangement goes down, and they erase that, and you come back and sing the whole song. I don't know, but the Anita Baker, whatever it takes, that was all live. So they did it super old school, even for 1990. Here's the arrangement. Let's run it down. Hit record. That was it. Now they had to overdub some of the background vocals because there's some harmonies there. So that probably happened, but everything else, yeah, that was live, which is nuts.
And she is like an artist with her voice. She just crescendos up, down, middle. Imagine hearing that live while you're trying to focus on,
Yeah, I'd fall out. I probably couldn't play.
Yeah.
It's like, what just happened? Yeah. The other thing about that song, two more things and I'll let it go, about that song and that project. One, that song was written by the late, partially written, co-written by the late, great Gerald Levert.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a Gerald Levert and Mark Gordon, his cousin who was in Levert, and I believe Anita has a writer's credit on that as well. But can you imagine Gerald Levert singing that song? Oh my.
Yeah.
Whoa. In my whatever world, there's some tape somewhere, some vault that has Gerald Levert singing Whatever It Takes. And if any of you out there listening know where that is, and that's not taking anything away from Anita, because I can listen to Anita sing this all day, every day. It's just like I'm just intrigued by like what would that sound like? So if it's out there, let us know.
Go off that thing.
Oh man, yeah. So that's cool. We actually, cause like the '90s, it was really about the beats and which is cool. And we still kind of it's kind of funny when we still do a lot of records are pretty much. I mean, for the most part, they're pretty much made like they were made in the '90s now. So, having said that, we're up to number 2. So what do we have?
All right. All right. So the other songs, of course, they probably MPC, like you were saying, or produced massively. I had to get a twofer here.
Oh, cool.
Hip hop started to like seep into R&B and soul at this time. So the beats are gonna have a hard kick in them. They're gonna knock a little bit. But this one is, I say it's a twofer because it has 2 '90s artists in it, so I can sneak them in. This one is Nothing Even Matters, off of Miseducation by Lauryn Hill. It has D'Angelo and Miss Lauryn Hill in it. You can hear the influence of hip hop with the beat and the snare, this neo soul kind of wave and taking over. So.
Skies could fall, not even if my boss should call. The world, it seems so very small, 'cause nothing even matters at all. Seem nothing even matters. Seem nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. nothing even matters at all.
Your love makes me feel 10 feet tall. Without it, I go through withdrawal. Cause nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters.
These buildings could drift out to sea. Some natural catastrophe. Still there's no place I'd rather be. Cause nothing even matters to me. See, nothing even matters. See, nothing even matters to me. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters
my
to
identity.
me.
I sometimes
I don't even want to stop this joint.
to look at you and see. Cause nothing even matters to me.
Hold on, I'm pulling an audible. I gotta get to the bridge on this one.
Nothing even matters to me. Sit it down, baby.
Now you won't find me at no store. I have no time for manicures. With you it's never either or. Cause nothing even matters no more. See, nothing, it don't matter. See, nothing even matters no more. Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters
Now
no
my
more.
fingers go and make it to the final floor. Just repossess my pole.
It's a world record.
Cause nothing even matters no more.
I just want y'all to hear this.
Nothing even matters. Nothing even matters no more.
Y'all hear that Hammond?
Nothing even matters. Oh, oh, oh.
One more time.
Yeah, y'all. There we go. It's a sharp 11, I think. Yeah. Oh, we just had to take you there. I'm sorry, y'all. Usually it's a clip. His nephew done pulled, Lord, he done pulled that one out. How you find? Well, you heard that in real time. I was about to be like, how you find out about that song?
I did. I heard it in real time. My older sister had the Lauryn Hill album and many other albums.
I think I gave her a few. No.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I'll just play.
I'm sure you did. Yeah. No, but I mean that whole thing impacted impacted me. So it that one specifically just speaks to me because that's both artists I love on it, and I don't know. You said it was the Harmon on there.
The Hammond organ. Yeah.
The Hammond.
Yeah.
Hammond. Yeah.
I don't know if it was I don't know. I can't really tell what model it was. I mean, most of the time when people talk about Hammonds, you're usually going to talk about a B3. But I mean, it had so many different models. It could have been an A100. But that sound that you get with the vibrato, I mean, the Hammond has built-in vibrato, but it has the rotating speaker, a Leslie speaker, and so that's where you get that like that kind of sound.
That is exactly what I was
Leslie.
hearing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then when he did the wow, like that's just essentially a setting, because you have drawbars. So you set the drawbars at a particular setting, and then you just run your hand. You can't see my hand, but you can just run I have a keyboard right here. You can just run your hand across that, across the keys, and it gives that wow effect. And yeah, it was in there. I mean, it was so cool the way they did it though. Like the organ was in there the whole time, but just the way he was playing it. And obviously, we know about D'Angelo's history. I mean, he's a preacher's kid. So I mean, he grew. I mean, he like church, like real church, like playing all the time. So, and what's cool about that neo word? What I love about that time period, especially D'Angelo, especially this next artist I'm going to play that I'm not going to name yet, and Lauren. And I mean, you could just go on and on. But what was cool about it was, yeah, they had like that was probably an MPC playing the beat, but he's playing. He's playing the electric piano. I couldn't tell whether that was a Rhodes or a Wurlitzer. It was probably a Rhodes with some sort of effect on there. But anyway, he's playing that. He's playing the organ. Then you got somebody on wah-wah guitar, bass, live bass. And they singing. And that movement brought the instrumentation back. The 80s was bad, but the 90s, some of the early 90s stuff was, terrible. I mean, not in the sense that it was, well, some of it was bad music, but I'm talking about impossible beats. So you had all these beats that people were making that a drummer could never play. So that's like why a lot of times, like concerts back then, you'd go and it's like, it don't sound like the record because I can't play all those beats at the same time. Or you had to have like 5 keyboard players on stage to cover all the parts. It's very, very keyboard heavy. And that's what you get. And again, this is no slight to anyone. But that's what you get when it's one person and they can sit there. And I mean, I do it myself. I'm guilty sometimes. You can sit there and you can just arrange all this stuff without thinking somebody has to play this. So, but with this music, oh man, that's an easy transition to play that live. It's like, all right, drummer, just keep it, what I mean? You ain't got to. And then everything else was already live on the record. So when you go and hear that, oh, man, come on. Yeah, that was, oh, man. And the last thing I'll say about that, and this relates to this next artist that I will play, I think the other thing that movement brought back, kind of advanced, was just what they were doing harmonically. I mean, what he's playing chord-wise and what they're doing with those background vocals, it's just so beautiful. It's just, they're hitting all the pretty notes. So, and really what the pretty notes are, those are the upper, they're called like, they could be, they're extensions. Sometimes, like it could be a tension note that's like one note that's kind of close to the other note, and it gives you these really pretty harmonies, close harmonies. And man, you 2 for 2. I'm losing today on verses. I'm losing. There's a scorecard at home, and I have lost on verses.
They're saving the heavy hits for last. I'm just trying to do.
Is that right? Oh, I got something for you. Hold on. Oh, I got something for you. Now, I want to say this. Let's see, where are we on time? We got time. It's our show. Yeah, we ain't even got to the halfway mark. I'm going to say this. Last week we had a celebration. This week, I just want to make sure. I don't know if you can see it. I'm getting better with this camera work. All right, so I'm pointing in the right direction. I don't know if you can see this, but that third slot that we're going to start to bring some people in, we probably have some guests from the folks who follow us on Facebook, and maybe one day we'll have an artist or two. But it's all in the plans. Yeah, that'll be fun. It's all in the plans. And as I point over there to that logo and all that black space where if you want to purchase sponsor us, I'm sponsored today by the Dollar T-shirt company because this is $1. But I want you all to look over there. If you can see, it's really teeny weeny. But that grown folks music, that logo, and that red lettering, and at the end of that red lettering, there is a circle with an R. And you know what that means, folks? That's a trademark. So this is a brand. Like, people use the phrase all the time. We love it. Sometimes we don't. But it's a brand. It is an actual legitimate trademark. So if you don't see that, I don't know. We don't know what it is. So it's not official. So with this next track, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go back to the future. So what happens is, here's a cosign for the best podcast, the 3x3 BTG podcast. This is a cosign for the best podcast going that doesn't have a drummer that plays on late night TV. You know what I mean? Or with the whatever crew that has a picnic. So this this is a cosign for the brand. The brand is strong, like Desus and Mero say. So here we go.
All right. This is grown folks music.
Searching, 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 searching.
I gotta stop right there, because if I don't, I will literally play the entire song. Like, I will go into overdrive and like lose my whatever little bit of cool I have left fanboying over Erica, because my. So you're familiar, sir.
I am, and I cannot wait to hear to hear you talk about Roy Ayers, because I don't know a lot about him, and I'm recently introduced to him maybe a couple of years ago.
Sure.
But apparently he is a huge force behind this neo soul movement that came about. Of course, Erica is going to perform and give credit to the ones who did it before her, and with that, just how dope she is. But I'm interested to hear you talk about Roy Ayers.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting? I think you will appreciate this, and I think the audience, hopefully, will appreciate this too. One thing about this show, I think, that's important is that we're transparent, and that we talk about how we arrive at certain points. So, of course, when Roy Ayers, like his records in the '70s, I mean, on through. So, like, Everybody Loves the Sunshine and Searching and all that stuff, I missed it in real time because I was like 5 or 6. And, your grandparents and even your mom, like, they weren't listening to that. So I didn't have anything that kind of connected me to Roy in that way until hip hop got me into Roy Ayers. Yeah. So what happened was, it's a tune, great song by group out of Boston, actually out of Boston. I know when you think of hip hop, a lot of times you don't think of Boston, but there's some cats. And NOG and Bulldogs, right? So they had this tune out in 1991 called "Be a Father to Your Child." Great, positive joint, and it samples "Searching." So like on the hook, it's like, so if we were listening to Roy's version, when it gets to that break, it's a tenor saxophone solo on it. So he's playing da 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 da. That's all I knew, because in the NOG and the Bulldogs, they just looped that. So I was hearing this thing and it was like, what is that? Like, seriously, like, what the heck is that? And it was a little bit later, and I think it was like one of these like late night shows or something, like playing retro stuff. And they were playing Searching, and it kind of sounded familiar, but I was like, have I heard this? And then when they got to the break and the tenor player is playing the solo, I mean, I almost lost my mind, because I was like, oh, that's the NOG and the Bulldogs, So then you fall down that rabbit hole, and then of course, 3 years later, Everybody Loves the Sunshine shows up on Mary J's My Life. I mean, that's what My Life is. It's Everybody Loves the Sunshine. So then you go, you start digging through Roy's stuff, and him just singing and being a vibes player, and just the people that came through his band. I mean, all kinds of people did a stint in Roy's band, and then if of course I think it's hard. It's it's just so different now, right? Like, everything's so segmented and segregated in a way. And maybe I'm being a little, too whatever, waxing poetic on the past, but like, I can't think of anybody, no, not really, like, that's an instrumentalist like that. That's putting out something that's so hip that you know what I mean? Like, back then, you would have songs that were like instrumentalists, but they might have they got a vocal accent on there, but it's like the jam. Like, that's like stuff like people like, yo, like, I jam to it. Whereas like now it's like, oh, well, I listen to smooth jazz and I'm over here and I wear linen clothes, and, and it's just, I mean, and that's no diss to that. I mean, but it's just like, I would love to hear someone do something present day that's like a Searching, or it's like Everybody Loves the Sunshine, or it's like Funkin' for Jamaica, or it's like Rise by Herb Alpert, or it's like Feel So Good by Chuck Mangione, where these songs are primarily instrumental, but they're so good and they're so infectious, and they're not pretentious, and they're not like, oh, it's locked into this style. Like, it just jams. I mean, like, Robert Glasper comes to mind. He's a dude that does that. I mean, his stuff is freaking, and there's some people out, Corey Henry, that's doing stuff and whatever. But I'm rooting for someone to really do that. Like, to really come with something that's like, because I think that enriches us, right? Like, you listening to this, I'm listening to this, it's a little bit of singing, and that gets us in the vibe. And then all of a sudden, like, if I let this play, and then like Bobby Sparks, I think it was Bobby Sparks playing keyboards on this, maybe, if not, correct me, but just goes off, like completely off in the instrumental. But it's all a vibe. It's like, yeah, that's part of our tradition. And I think sometimes when we play music by proxy, we let computers do things, or we say it's only going to be this long or whatever, we let that go. Like, we let that part of our DNA go. I mean, because if you think about, like, West African storytellers, griots, or however you want to pronounce that, sitting around telling stories for days, and we can't get through a 3-minute and 33-second song. Come on, man. But anyway, let me get off my bully pulpit. So, all right. So we're up to my favorite number, 3. So what do you have for us, sir?
All right. This is This was tough. Okay, so I had a spare. Not that you took one, but I'm gonna run anyway. So I'm gonna keep it with Erica because I can't go I can't go without playing an Erica song. And I know I was trying to stay away from wildly popular songs,
No, it's
but
good.
I think well I guess it was a personal goal of mine so that I wouldn't
Okay.
play something that everyone's gonna know. But this one everyone knows. It's called Next Lifetime off of Body Rhythm. And and I love this song through and through. I always have. I mean, from its representation, from Erica's standpoint as a strong black woman, being loyal and faithful, and then still being strong enough but also nice enough or kind enough to let someone down in a respectful manner while praising him at the same time. It's great, and that's my third pick there.
Wow. 2 Ericas. I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to have to tweet her.
Heck, we've been with each other for a while. I'm into you. Just want to know what I gotta do, to get closer to you.
Wait a minute. Now, you know I'm in a situation. Why you... Don't do this. Why are you tripping like that?
Well, I understand that, but your whole vibe is, I can see myself being with you forever.
That's really beautiful. And I kind of dig you, too. You know that. We're friends. And I'm in a situation. I'm in a relationship. And you know what that means.
Well, whatever I gotta do, I'll do it for you.
Sure put me in an awkward situation.
Now what am I supposed to do when I want you in the world? Want you in the world? How can I want you for myself when I'm already someone's girl? What am I supposed to do when I want you in the world? Want you in the world? How can I want you for myself when I'm already someone's girl? First time that I saw you, boy, it was a warm and sunny day. All I know is I wanted you. I really hoped you looked my way. Then you smiled at me so warm and sweet. I could not speak. You made me feel like a little bitty girl. What did you do to me? Now what am I supposed to do when I want you in the world? Want you in the world? But how can I want you for myself when I'm already someone's girl? I guess I'll see you next lifetime. No hard feelings. I guess I'll see you next lifetime. I'm gonna be there. Your energy feels so damn good to me. It picks me up, don't wanna come down. You got me spinning all around, yeah. You need to know I've got somebody, but you're beautiful. But still, it ain't that type of party now.
Oh,
I supposed to do want me when I want you in the world. Want you
golly.
What is
Ah.
that? What is that instrument in the back? It's going like, and it comes through like up and down in the
Oh,
background.
yeah. I was trying to
what
dig
that
on
is.
it. It's,
It's
I mean,
hypnotic, whatever it
between,
is.
it's possible that it could be, hold on.
How can I
Oh,
want you for myself when I'm already someone's girl?
oh yeah, it's a,
When I want
yeah, it's a synth. Like,
That's the regular thing.
yeah, like, well, everybody, okay, I don't want to get into a battle, but like MOOG. Now, when I watched the documentary on Dr. Robert, he pronounced it Moog, but of course with the MOO, Most people say Moog, but anyway, Dr. he pronounced it Moog, but anyway, it sounds like it could have been like a Moog, like a mini Moog, which is a synthesizer, and you can set it. Um, you can, there's a setting, um, and there's something called portamento. So when you program a synth, you can set what's called the time, and it'll if you play between two notes, it's gonna slide between the notes, and depending upon how far apart they are and the speed you set it, it could go slow or it could go woo. So like if I'm playing a high C here and like a low C a couple of octaves away, I'll hit the high C normal. But when I move my finger down to the other C, it's gonna slide through all those notes to get to the other one. Yeah. And so when you're playing at a slow tempo, it's like woo, and so you can kind of set it. There might be a way to lock it to the tempo of the song, perhaps. But yeah, I think that's what that was. It sounds like like a kind of a Moog Moogie thing on some sort of and there's something else called like there's portamento, there's glissando, there's all kinds of effects that you can do with synths to get those sounds. Yeah. And it's so wild because that song is literally like those two chords, I think. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But it's such a great story, it's such a great melody, it's so much cool stuff happening around that you never really pay attention to the fact that that's the song. And one thing that I always talk about is nothing. Things don't have to be complex to be great.
Right.
Sometimes people make stuff just complex just for the sake of being complex. But that's one of my favorite songs. I've actually performed that song a couple of times. I mean, obviously not with Erica, but it's a cool thing to play live because it's just fun. It's just and again, that was something. Yeah, that's real time for you. Yeah.
Real time?
Yeah.
Awesome. Look at that. Not even knowing it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I caught that. Right. That was But you saying they recorded it for real time, or
No,
I heard that
I mean
real time?
you heard it. You.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was like 97, 98, 97.
97.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was. Yeah. It was. I was out there watching.
Oh
Watching
yeah, the cool
Independence Day. I was
video.
out there.
Yeah, was there a video for that one? Yeah.
There was. Yeah, it had a whole bunch of stars in it, a whole bunch of famous people, I think.
Yeah.
So,
That's a cool one.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good movement towards women empowerment.
Oh,
It was all
man.
about that,
Man.
and she used to just walk and float with grace through each one of her videos. It was just, yeah. So it was really impactful. And my mother was big into Erica at that time too.
Oh, yeah. Erica, I mean, when the first time I saw the video for On and On and heard it, saw it, I was like, who is this person? Like, and it was so refreshing because it was just like, because we're about, Erica, she might be a year younger than me. We're about the same age, but it was just, and D'Angelo's a little bit younger than me, but it was just so refreshing to be in your 20s and having all these, in fact, because this leads into my third pick, but to have all these, young folks like doing, music in a classic style, like On and On. I mean, I know she got these comparisons early on, but yeah, like the first time I heard On and On, I was like, yo, who is this? Like, it's doing like soul and R&B, but they listen to like Billie Holiday records. Like that's like the first thing I heard. I was like, dang, she sounds like Billie Holiday. But I mean, obviously she sounds like Erica because she's got her own thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, and it's cool. It's people out now. I mean, I'm not even gonna trip. Like, there's people out now that do that. I mean, her I love, like, for real, like
Oh yeah, she's
like
one of my favorites.
yeah, like I'm not even playing, like like
Mm,
those are the chords I want to hear. you know, she's done the homework, and it's other cats. I mean, my man's oh, what's my man's name? I mean, besides, like, and of course, like BJ the Chicago Kid, and oh, what's my man's name? Daniel Caesar.
oh, I love some Daniel Caesar, man. Yeah, he's yeah.
Yeah, so,
I can tell.
yeah. We gonna
He's
get into
funny,
that next week, y'all. We're gonna move into the 2000s, and I am challenging myself to like go and discover some stuff, and get hip or get re-hipped to some stuff. But we're gonna go at it. We're gonna go at it now. I'm taking the back seat starting next week because you know
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here to learn. So I'm always here to learn though. Um, so yeah, looking at the time, we're on my third pick, and what can I say about this artist? I received one of the best birthday presents I've received in a long time this year. Before all, hopefully I can get to it. I think so. Um, let's see. We'll find out. One of the best, birthday presents I've received in a long time. This year, before the world, where we are now. Yeah. So, yeah, we were still going out then. So my birthday is in the love month of February. And I got to hear this artist do this song live. And I thought, and they told a story, so we'll tell it real quick once we finish. I'll play a little bit of it, but I am telling you, and it does not hurt my grown man credibility. I think I might have almost screamed because I heard the first note and I was like, "Oh, I already know what this is." Sometimes music hits you in that way. I'm not ashamed. So let's take a listen.
See, man, I ain't tripping off none of my homeboys. And I ain't tripping off none of her girlfriends. Because I can't do that. We're going to be together. We're going to do this. No, we can do this.
Just me and you, ooh, baby. Just me and you, just the two. Just me and you, ooh, baby. Ooh, come on. Needless to say, you know I really want you. I feel like you can make me happy. Contribute to the cause and let me do my thing. Forget about what you heard. Let's get personal. Just me and you. Just me and you. Not to worry about Johnny. Not to worry about Kevin, baby. Just me and you. Just me and you. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about Kevin. We don't need nobody else. As far as my personal taste is concerned, I really, really love the way you're making me wait so long. Now that the both of us really know each other, it's time that we explore one another. Don't worry
I got it. Yeah, that's that's another one. I'll be gone. Like, bye. And there is no way on this earth that I could let this opportunity go by to talk about soul music in the 1990s and not have something by Raphael Sadiq. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Um, I wrestled because I was like, I don't, you know, and it was hard to, because we were working with a limited number, but he during this concert, I mean, he went through the medley of tunes he's written, whether it was his solo work, I mean his work with the Tonys, of course, um, his solo hits, his hits he wrote for other people, and this was in that, and he talked about. So this is off of the Boys in the Hood soundtrack.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, rest in peace, John Singleton, his first film. So John's coming out, first time, major film director. He's getting the music together, and he gets this tune from Raphael, and there's a little bit of there's a little problem with the record label, let's say, and because this song is credited as Tony, Tony, Tony. This ain't Tony, Tony, Tony. That's all Raphael Sadiq. That's all him. He talked about that in concert. He's talked about that in interviews, And I mean, that's no diss to the group. It's just that he did it, but because the group was such a valuable commodity to the label that they were on at that time, it was just an issue. So it's credited as Tony, 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 so as to have avoided that issue. However, comes back, and he does, I forgot, did he do anything on Poetic Justice? I can't remember, but I think which call is from Higher Learning, and I'm drawing a blank right now. I know I'm singing the song in my head. That's all I ask of you. Ask of you. I think Ask of You is on Higher Learning, I believe. And so what happened was that was a fight. They had the leverage then, so he fought. So that was under his name. So again, always listen to Tribe, always listen to Tip 4080. Man, yo. So are you familiar, sir, with that song?
I'm familiar with that. The Tony 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 story is new to me. I didn't know that. No, I can of course hear Raphael speak all over the song, but the credit is Tony Tony Tony, which is interesting. But and we had Boys in the Hood on VHS.
Hilarious.
That was one of the ones we had that we would watch, So
wow.
that was good. Raphael speaks great.
Oh man, and you just reminded me. We're gonna have to do that soon. We'll have to put that on the calendar. But I think we're gonna have to do a soundtrack show. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, especially when you start talking about the '90s. I mean, it's all over the decades. Like, there's some secrets I could pull from some stuff from the '70s because those were really cool. Actually, you know what? We'll have to do it by decade because there's enough stuff to pull from. It kind of wanes once we get to the 2000s, but 70s, 80s, 90s, and 70s, 80s, and 90s. Oh man, like the 90s by itself. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, yeah. I just went straight to Preacher's Wife.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. It was a good friend of mine. He actually is here, and he worked on that. He worked on that soundtrack, and he has some really cool stories to tell. Maybe we'll share one day. But yeah, worked does a lot of work. Well, yeah, still works with Hans Zimmer, who's super duper uber composer. Did all the Disney stuff and blah blah blah. But great stories. So man, I can't believe this. We've made it from the 60s through the 90s, all soul. And we've been getting some really good feedback as far as like, people communicating to me that, yeah, the songs that we picked really fit in the soul canon. And I know it's difficult, when you start to try to define and, yeah, put labels on things because, well, what's the difference between soul and R&B? What's the difference between soul and funk? What's the difference between blah, 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 blah? It is difficult. But there's nuance there. It's subtle. But I'm really very happy that, yeah, it's like all the stuff we did was like soul stuff. And yeah, and then there's obviously pop. So like someone like mentioned to me like last week, which makes sense now, right? So we didn't pick some very big people in the 80s. They were not on our survey, but they reminded me that most of their musical output in the 80s was in the pop realm. And I'm like, yeah, you can make a good argument for that. I mean, especially when we talk about Thriller, the only true soul song on there probably is Lady in My Life. Everything else is pretty much kind of gonna be in the pop R&B realm. So yeah. So that was cool. I mean, there's some stuff, and that's a whole rabbit hole and a show in and of itself. We'll do a Prince show, and we could do a Prince show by decade, people, and so we can delve into that. But this is always a pleasure. This is just a joy for me. A highlight of the week. So next week we will go into the 2000s, but we're not gonna put any constraints on it. We're gonna go for the good. So let us anticipate that we're going to start because yeah, we're 20 years away. I'd love to see the difference. So Brav will come with his three favorite tunes from the year 2000, and I will come with my three favorite from the year 2000. Also, we're working very diligently in the background. I didn't get this thing over to Soul Brav that I needed to, but we're going to come with a very special playlist very soon. I think you'll get a kick out of it because we put some parameters on it, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. But next week, yeah, tune in. Again, remember to rate and subscribe. Grown Folks Music one over there on YouTube, and then of course all around the web is Grown Folks Music. At Grown Folks Music everywhere. You'll find us. You'll find Soul Brav around the web at Soul Brav. You'll find me on my personal stuff at IORR03. And yeah, that's what we're doing. This is the 3x3 BTG Bridging the Gap podcast from Grown Folks Music, and we will catch you all the next time. Bursh.